I'm Jeff Hunt. He's Bill Thorpe. You get your Trump account going?
This is such a scam.
Oh, Billy, this is awesome. The only thing I don't like about it is the fact that the government's putting money into it, but the overall structure of the account, I think, is fine. We'll get into this. Trump accounts for kids come with $1,000 and some tax complications, says the Wall Street Journal. Let's go back to the phone lines real quick before we get to the news. Kathy in Hudson. Good morning, Kathy. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Yes, this is Kathy. Hello?
Yes,
Yeah,
what's
Kathy,
on your mind, Kathy?
And you know what? I am telling you that these poor teachers, they're going to get $75,000 for the rest of their lives. And
Got to turn off that radio behind you.
Huh? And that's what, so, oh my God, these poor teachers. No, they're going to get $75,000 for the rest of their
Yeah, Kathy, is that okay for the kids to assault them and yell at them? Is that it? And to be accused of being...
I'm confused. What are we talking about? I thought we were talking about the superintendent resigning, but
no, she's saying that you're saying the teachers get $75,000 for the rest of their lives. Is that correct, Kathy? You're talking about the superintendent.
Actually, I'm a retired lunch lady.
Yeah, I know, but you were saying the teachers, and you're right, because Jeff's question is, are you talking about the teachers?
The teachers are going to get $75,000 for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, if Paris stays solvent, yes.
But it cannot be solvent because they're idiots.
I know, but who, the district or the teachers?
The para-management.
Teachers.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that. Thanks, Kathy.
Thanks, Kathy, for the call from Hudson. The lunch lady. We should play Adam Sandler.
Yeah, lunch lady.
Lunch lady. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate
I have
it.
a first pressing of that at home. Yeah.
Of course you do.
Yeah, I do. They had it was first pressing before they even needed graphics on it. Yeah, it was the first promotional release. I've got that at home. The first Adam Sandler CD. Yeah, I do.
All right, now it's time for the news.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Good Thursday morning, 28 with some clouds out there in Denver. Expecting a high of 45 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story.
Well, Chris, it's a good first step. We do have a toxic culture currently in our district.
The Cherry Creek School District is looking for a new superintendent. The district's Board of Education announced the resignation of Chris Smith Wednesday. Smith's last day will be January 30th. Board members praise Smith's achievements, though some current and former staff members previously accused Smith and his wife, who is an employee of the district, of creating a toxic culture in the school district. Molly Lamar, a parent in the district, was on with Jeff and Billy last hour, and she was not happy with him and says this is only the beginning.
So, and while this is a good first step, it's just the beginning. Chris has been the superintendent for 4 years. Our scores have gone down. We've lost a ton of really good teachers, veteran teachers, amazing associate superintendents. It's unfortunate, and it's not the Cherry Creek way.
The district's deputy superintendent will lead the school system until a new superintendent is chosen. Colorado's population has topped 6 million people for the first time. U.S. Census data indicates the state's population increased by nearly 1% last year. About 15,000 people moved into the state, while around 12,000 moved away. Births were up by 4.6% between 2024 and 2025. The state's population has increased by more than 237,000 people since 2020. The federal agents involved in the Minneapolis shootings have been placed on administrative leave DHS says it's part of standard protocol. Border Czar Tom Homan says they are not backing down from their mission to round up criminal illegal immigrants in Minnesota. Homan said that he met with Governor Tim Walz and Mayor Jacob Fry and called for cooperation with local law enforcement. Homan said that because state officials are releasing illegal immigrants with criminal records, it's making the job of ICE agents more difficult and more dangerous. And then you have the paid protesters with their trombones blowing them all night long outside hotels in Minnesota. Fed Chair Jerome Powell isn't providing hints about any future interest rate cuts after the Federal Reserve left them unchanged on Wednesday.
Speaking after the rate announcement, Powell said any rate decisions would be based on future data as it comes in, and noted that the Federal Reserve reduced rates over the previous 3 meetings.
We're not making decisions about future meetings, but we do think we're well positioned after those 3 cuts to let the data speak to us.
Powell would only restate the Fed's goal of maximum employment and 2% inflation. He did note the American economy is on firm footing with the exception of the housing market, and inflation is trending downward. Powell would not comment when asked about his federal subpoena over building renovations at the Federal Reserve. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Back to Minnesota real quick. The FBI leading the investigation into the liquid attack on Ilhan Omar. 55-year-old Anthony Kazmierzak is accused of squirting liquid on Omar during the town hall a couple of days ago and was booked on third-degree assault charge. Despite the attack, Omar continued with the town hall.
This stuff drives me crazy, man. No, they should absolutely book these guys. I give public speeches too. I had trans communists 3 feet from me during a Turning Point event back in November, and the whole time you're thinking, what? Especially after Charlie, what could happen? What could happen? And I don't care what side you're on. Don't assault people while they're giving a speech.
Exactly.
It's terrible. So prosecute the crud out of this guy.
He's lucky he came out alive.
Yeah,
honestly.
what did she do? She grabbed her pen and started going after him.
No doubt, no doubt. They need to throw the book at him. Absolutely, can't do that. Eli Manning has missed being voted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame for a second year in a row.
Really?
15. Let me see. He was among 15 modern era finalists, but did not receive the required 80% vote for induction. He'll be in there sooner or later, but he won 2 Super Bowl MVPs.
Yeah, help me understand why. I've never understood this. As a sports guy, help me understand why it takes forever sometimes for these guys to get in. Why not just vote? Is there a certain amount? Is that why? Like, there's only so many people we can have? And we got to kind of clear out the older guys that are about to die. And then eventually
it needs to be elite. There are some Hall of Fames in sports that are ridiculous. Like the Basketball Hall of Fame is ridiculous. Like, it's just everybody, and it's a feel-good thing. So I like that about the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But, like, Bill Belichick was snubbed. I don't care what.
That's a question I've got about Belichick.
So ridiculous.
How is he not a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
That's an inside
job. Is the people don't like Jordan?
Yeah,
I think that may be part of it. I think the Inflategate or whatever it was, the cheating and then Robert Kraft has a little thing going on with him, and evidently he may not want to share the stage with him because Robert Kraft is being inducted. That's a possibility.
I tell my kids that the drama of middle school continues for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And this is what it sounds like. I don't like his girlfriend. He was mean to me. He spied on me.
Isn't that the truth?
All that stuff.
Yeah,
when you have all the money in the world, it just does not matter. Evidently, it comes down to if you're going to share the stage at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, for me, the idea is that the example of Bill Belichick is almost, prototypical of what you would expect a first ballot Hall of Famer to be. even with the Inflategate issue and the sign stealing, some stuff like that, even with that, his resume is solid. And this is the problem that I've got with it is my perspective, and again, I always look at things a little bit differently than many people, is that the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame hurts their own reputation more than they're hurting Belichick's reputation. Everybody already understands who Belichick is.
Yes.
And, using air quotes of a air quote punishment of not putting him in on first ballot for whatever reason doesn't make the Pro Football Hall of Fame people look better. They're not assuming the high moral ground by keeping out Bill Belichick, who, again, look at the resume. How do you argue with that being first ballot Hall of Fame against
He's
it?
the GOAT.
Yeah.
I hate saying that, but he's the greatest.
I still can't say that
of
publicly.
all time. Coaches.
I can't get there publicly. But that's a Bronco thing. I understand that I'm being irrational, but I understand also that given that resume, yes, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, again, the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame for me is getting as bad as the WWE Hall of Fame, which is professional wrestling, and that is just the Does Vince McMahon Like Me Club. I mean, there wasn't even a physical location for the WWE Hall of Fame for years. They're now starting to build. Oh yeah, they're now starting to build one, but for years they were inducting people into a Hall of Fame that didn't exist. You couldn't go anywhere and see it.
You couldn't visit it.
No, you couldn't visit it. You couldn't do anything. So they're now building it. Now I got one, but for years it's just, does Vince McMahon like me? If so, I'm inducted into the Hall of Fame. That's what this is giving the appearance of. Do these people like me? And then they'll put me in the Hall of Fame. It's taking away all the objective reasoning about what it means to be a member of the Hall of Fame, and they're hurting themselves. They're hurting themselves.
Yes, and that's what it's not supposed to be about. He was such a great guy. Oh, he did so much for the community. I mean, that's all great, but this is for the elite, the best of the best. I don't agree with Deion Sanders much of the time. However, he is correct on this. It needs to be elite, and a lot of the people being let in should not be in there that quickly, or should not be in there. But Bill Belichick, come on. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I'm still though personally mad at them over the year that Bolin legit I feel should have gotten in, and Jerry Jones ran politics to get himself elected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again.
Oh yeah, no, he did. There's no question.
Yeah, that was one
it's
where
the Rich
that
Boys
should have.
Club.
Yeah, that should have been Bolin's year, because Bolin was integral in NFC, and the creation and the foundation of the league that was so important.
No doubt.
I would submit a hell of a lot more important than Jerry Jones has been as far as the development of the league. A hell of a lot more important as far as laying the foundation. But it's now the popularity
you can
club.
make an argument both ways. However,
you can. Jerry Jones has had a huge impact, but I'm thinking that the setup of the base setup of the league, Bolin had more to do with the structure back then.
The one that always stood out for me, and the only reason he got in, I mean, he should have been in 50 years ago, but Rich Tombstone Jackson, right?
Yeah.
And the reason he wasn't in was because the Broncos weren't respected until they won a Super Bowl, which is crazy. And plus it was, in flyover country. But I mean, that dude was so good, arguably the best defensive end of all time. And that's another reason you got to win Super Bowls. Yeah. It helps for future Hall of Fame inductions. All right, so we have the Nets at the Nuggets tonight. Tip-off at 7 o'clock. Ottawa over the Avalanche last night, 5-2, 26 in Parker, 27 in Lakewood, 28 in Denver. You're waking up with Jeff and Bill. Blake Olson, News Talk, 710 KNUS.
Partly cloudy, mild. Temperatures reaching the low to mid-50s today. Cloudy tonight. Lows will be in the 20s. It'll be a touch cooler Thursday. There's a chance for a little bit of snow in the mountains tonight and tomorrow morning, but just cooler here along the Front Range with highs tomorrow 40s, 20s tomorrow night, 45 to 50 on Friday. The highs will be 50s for the weekend. Overnight lows in the 20s, and likely more of the same through Monday. The next chance of moisture will be Tuesday of next week. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Headline from the Wall Street Journal: Trump accounts for kids come with $1,000 and some tax complications. Politicians wanted to give kids a $1,000 kickstart on investing. The way Congress did it is complicated, but there are some real benefits for families. The new type of savings accounts for children that made it into the One Big Beautiful Bill are custodial individual retirement accounts for kids with special rules until the year that the child turns 18. For the next few years, the Trump accounts come with $1,000 of seed money from the Treasury Department for newborns. The money would grow tax-deferred with income taxes due upon withdrawal. The free $1,000 is certainly a good deal, but it can also make sense for parents to create the accounts even if their children don't qualify for that money. That's because employers, state, and local governments and charities may also make contributions. So what the Wall Street Journal is essentially saying is, yeah, if you're not going to have a kid in the next year, that would be quite a shock to the system for both Bill and I to all of a sudden have pregnant spouses.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah. I'm going to drink so heavily at that point.
It's still a good thing to set up. We're going to leave every child with real assets and a shot at financial freedom, President Trump said in an event yesterday to promote the accounts. All Americans will begin their lives with a beautiful nest egg. For most families, it doesn't make sense to add their own money. Offerings such as 529 savings plans and even custodial accounts are more flexible and have better tax advantages for parents' contributions. Financial advisors say the best case for adding family money to the accounts could be for wealthy people who have already maxed out 529 saving plans and want to also jumpstart their young children's retirement savings. So who's eligible? Any child with a Social Security number who is under the age of 18 at the end of the year the account is established. Under a pilot program, the Treasury Department would seed the accounts with $1,000 for children born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028 who have a Social Security number and are U.S. citizens. When are they available? The accounts are expected to roll out in 2026, and parents and others will be able to start contributing in July. The Treasury Department will oversee the program, and banks and other financial institutions will administer accounts. How do people get an account? People with eligible children can elect to open an account by filling out a new IRS tax form called a Form 4547. Get it? Which you can attach to your tax return. There's a box to check if you want to receive the $1,000 seed money. Alternatively, in mid-2026, there will be an online portal at trumpaccounts.gov. Again, trumpaccounts.gov, where parents and guardians can sign up their children for accounts. Another step includes an authentication process will be needed to activate the account. The accounts will initially be held and created by the Treasury designated financial agent, and they can be rolled over to accounts held at other companies. So what are the investment options? The investments must be low-cost mutual funds or exchange-traded funds that are made up of mostly U.S. equities. Industry and sector-specific indexes aren't permitted. The funds are limited to those with an expense ratio of up to 0.1%. Are there contribution limits? Beyond the $1,000 federal seed money, others will be able to contribute to the accounts. And you're seeing some companies now offer baby bonuses through this. I think Bank of America did. Chase announced as well. Steak and Shake. If you're an employee, Steak and Shake. You'll get money added to this account just for working there. Parents, relatives, and friends could contribute up to $5,000 annually in after-tax dollars for years before the year the child turns 18. The amount increases annually with inflation. Employers can contribute up to $2,500 for an employee or an employee's dependent. They could let employees direct pre-tax salary to accounts for their children up to the same limit. And as I mentioned, JP Morgan Chase, Schwab, IBM, all jumping in now at this. Charities could also contribute. Dell Technologies founder and CEO Michael Dell and his wife Susan said they would donate $6.25 billion, which would essentially add an additional $250 for children 10 or younger who were born before January 1st, 2025. So when can the money be taken out and how is it taxed? Taxes are where the account gets complicated. It depends on who put the money in, how old you are when you take it out, and what you're using for it. You don't pay taxes on dividends and capital gains that remain in the account. The beneficiary could empty it and use the money for anything on January 1st of the year he or she turns 18. Say you just accept the $1,000 and you use it for college. Then you pay federal income taxes on the withdrawal of the $1,000 and any of the earnings. Say you use it to buy a car. You also have to pay a 10% penalty. Just like a regular IRA, there is an early distribution penalty for withdrawals before age 59 and a half, unless an exemption applies, such as using the money for higher education or using up to $10,000 for first-time home purchasers. So, Bill, I think this is fine. The one thing I don't like about it is using other taxpayer dollars to seed it. I could be convinced that this is a good thing in light of the birth problems that we have in this country, the lack of babies that are coming. We need to kind of encourage people to have babies. Here's $1,000. That makes a big deal and could help grow. And by the time they're 18, that's going to become significant money. I don't necessarily like the idea of using other people's money to seed it via tax dollars. But look, we've got lots of these structures, 529s that are out there, 401ks. This just brings it down to babies and creates a little nest egg that could help them. What's wrong with this?
Well, if we have it, then why is it needed? That's what I can't figure out, is that these structures...
Not sure we do have it.
Well,
I think this is a new structure.
Well, it's yes and no, not really. I mean, you're just changing the age of the person as far as the investment vehicle.
Correct.
And the idea is we're celebrating, and employers can contribute, and they can do this in pre-tax. Yeah, that's called a 401k. We already have that. I mean, we already have employer contributions into a retirement fund. Now we're just deciding we're going to take similar employer retirement funding money and put it into a different account. Yay? That's a win. I don't understand it. The problem is how does this encourage people having babies? It doesn't solve the problem of affordability of childcare or the hospital stay or anything now. And so I disagree that it's an encouragement to have children. The other problem with this is it is a structure that will primarily benefit especially higher earners and middle income earners, and it will leave the poor earners behind because the poor earners cannot afford to invest. They do not have the money. They can't invest. And what I mean by that is there will be a functional mechanism to withdraw this money early with a penalty, and that is exactly what's going to happen. Because just as you said, if we're talking about making children more affordable and encouraging people to have, and it was my word using affordable, not yours, but encouraging people to have kids, the poor people need that money now. They can't afford to wait 18, 21, 40 years for that money. They're having problems putting food on the table now. They're having problems keeping the lights on now. They're having problems paying the rent now. This idea of something that is later on down the road doesn't work for them and will be withdrawn early. The other problem is the stock market. That's just crap. This should be treasury bonds. Doesn't make any sense. We've done treasury bonds before. That's a secure, safe investment. We are putting this into a risky investment. How many times do you hear people giving advice about, hey, and my stockbroker, this and this? Remember, all investments come with risk. Make sure to consult your at the end of the ads because they're risky. What this is this is pumping in theory, somewhere around $3.5 billion annually into the stock market that then props up the stock market. This makes the stock market a vehicle that the government cannot and will not allow to fail. You can't have any if all these kids have these these Trump bonds, and again, it's convenient that it's a private company that's going ahead and investing it for them, so they're drawing money off of it. They're not doing it out of the good of their heart, so it's a private company drawing profit off of it. But if they make a bad investment and something goes down, these kids lose their money. Well, that's not going to happen. You can't have that. These were government-issued security. They're supposed to be securities. So the government now has to come in and prop it up. What this is, in my mind, is this is a form of life support for the stock market. They are pumping in billions of dollars annually of dumb money. Dumb money moves slow and can't chase trends. The majority of our stocks are owned by 10% of our population in America. And they're the ones that do all the day trading and moving it around. And the dumb money, the 401k investments and retirement investments, don't move that often. That provides a base level of as far as the stock market can drop, because those people don't shed their purchases, their stock, their investments as quickly. It doesn't move as quickly. So it creates an artificial base. So this creates a safety net, also gets the government involved. So the people that are risking their money in the stock market now have a safety net. If they start losing their money and it goes really, really bad, the government's going to have to come in and make it better. You have eliminated the risk involved in investing. That's the core of what this is doing. That's why everybody wants to. That's why people are so excited about privatizing things like Social Security, because it creates an artificial safety net inside of the stock market that removes risk. That's the problem. If this was such a good idea, put it in securities. Don't put it in stock.
I mean, if you're concerned about spending money, for instance, on childcare and trying to reduce that, what you've seen under progressive ideas, which is just pump money and taxpayer dollars into those systems as well, is it essentially creates an artificial base that drives up the cost. That's why you have more expensive childcare, more expensive universities, more expensive housing, is because the government's artificially propping that up. So if the alternative is we're just going to take people's tax dollars and push them right into these systems themselves, we haven't seen that work. In fact, it's gotten worse for just about everybody. Now, as I mentioned, I don't necessarily like the idea of tax dollars being used to see these outside of maybe the idea that the government's trying to invest in people having more kids, which our country definitely needs. But the tax structure itself is fine. We do this with 401ks. You just have to be over the age of 18. We do this with 529s. Grandparents and others can invest in. Creates, I guess if you're concerned that it props up the stock market, well, we're doing this in other areas. It seems to be benefiting people. We put money into some 529s for our kids, and they're going to be going to college with a little bit more because of the investments that took place there. So all this does is just bring that retirement option down to kids once they're born, and then encourages companies to invest in it. I don't see the problem with the tax structure and the investment structure in of itself. Give us a call, 303-696-1971, 303-696-1971. Are you going to sign up your kids for this? Maybe you got a new baby coming. Are you going to fill out the IRS form 4547? Which you got to admit, it's kind of funny. Or if you have kids now, are you going to sign up for them? Does this seem like a good structure? I'm thinking about it. Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Capitalist Law text line at 720-819-5115. All right, let's talk Black Eyed Pea of Colorado. Absolutely love this restaurant. Stephen Michelle, locally owned and operated. That's important to me. Locally owned and operated. My whole family loves this restaurant. Yours will too. Now with 9 locations, there's sure to be one near you. They recently opened in Fort Collins, so you can visit them at 807 East Harmony Road. It's beautiful up there. This is the restaurant you want to take the whole family to. Keep it in Colorado. These are the people I proudly support, and you can too. Take everyone out to eat at the Black Eyed Pea. Homestyle cooking worth going out for. They made everything from scratch. Ranch-style pork chops, mushroom, Swiss chicken, ribeye steak, St. Louis ribs, the Mile High meatloaf. They've got daily specials and senior discounts. The Black Eyed Pea has what your family is hungry for. Black Eyed Pea also does catering. Your dinner party, rehearsal dinner, wedding reception, or company event will be a success when you look to the Black Eyed Pea. Hear me on this. I love everything about this restaurant. Visit Black Eyed Pea near you Website, blackeyedpeacolorado.com. That's blackeyedpeacolorado.com. We'll continue with your phone calls and texts. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're talking the Trump accounts jumpstart the American dream. Text messages hot on this one. $1,000 only going to pay a half of 1 month's rent for a one-bedroom apartment. The Lost Jockey texting in. Marvin the Meat Handler. Trump's giveaways are getting ridiculous. Maybe our economy stinks. Socialism is cool. Billy is in like 5 battles over Minneapolis on the text
there are lots
line.
of calls, lots of things going on off the air. Yeah.
Gail in Longmont, why does Trump have to put his name on these accounts? Oh, I get it. Because he's a narcissist who can't see his name often enough.
That is an interesting one. The idea of why isn't it, anything to do with America or anything else? Why does it have to have his name on it?
Yeah. Do you want to know why?
Yeah.
Because it's in the text messages here.
Yeah. Why?
Those who hate Trump will decline these accounts and not make as much money.
That's it.
Yeah,
it's just it.
He's going to help all of us conservatives make lots more money because we don't have TDS.
So it's basically just being petty. Oh, that's great. Isn't it wonderful?
Oh,
I know.
Billy, speaking
It's
of
great.
pettiness.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the phone lines. Jim in Denver. Good morning, Jim. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. So Trump is the greatest narcissist that ever lived. That's why he wants his name on the bottom of all the government checks that go out to people, and he calls it free markets. So,
well, no, that's Polis. That's Polis and the great Colorado Give Back.
and Bernie Sanders. I mean, you could substitute all these people's names in on these bills, and they all would make sense. There's no difference between Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, in my opinion, when it comes to the American socialism.
Really? I mean, Jim, I
socialism.
understand the critique of the $1,000, but do you critique the tax structure, the investment structure? In my mind, I don't see that's any different than 529s or 401ks.
That tax decrease that I received in his last term lasted for 6 months. It was a deferred tax increase, nothing more. I'm paying more in taxes now. And fortunately, we had the dead guy as our president for 4 years in between, so we have a good scapegoat right there. But, you know, the only reason the dead guy was our president is because someone invited him in and forced him in there. That guy would have never been president if Trump wouldn't have stirred the pot and got everybody off their couches to go and elect him in 2020.
Jim, but I want to go back to my original question. The structure itself isn't that groundbreaking. I mean, our kids have 529s. That's deferred tax-free investments into their education. We have 401ks that are deferred tax-free investments into your retirement. So why not just allow this? Why it essentially just brings down the 401k age limit down to birth. So what's the problem?
The government does not belong in between. This is not the government's role. No matter if you think you're going to get the free money or not, it's going to degrade the money. It's going to devalue the money. This, to me, makes as much sense as a cowboy having a gorgeous bag and eating charcuterie, okay? So it makes no sense to me. So you should justify this to all of us actual conservatives out here.
Jim, I haven't heard the difference. I haven't heard the difference of how this is different than a 401k or a 529.
It's free fugazis. It's not real. Yeah, you flush your toilet. That's what you're doing. They are not putting money into productivity. They are putting money into speculation. If you like making money while you're sleeping at night, well, that's great, but not all of America can do that. We do not have free markets anymore, and talking about this is degrading free markets in the first place. But hey, we're all conservatives here, not just me, right?
All right, Jim. Denver, appreciate the call.
Thanks, Jim.
I mean, so would he not want 401ks? Would he not want 529s?
I think he's kind of coming along the same way that I am, saying we already have these sorts of vehicles that are available, and some of them not supported with taxpayer funds. And part of the problem that I'm seeing is the taxpayer funds being funneled into the stock market through an official government program. And that creates an artificial safety net inside of the stock market where the government's going to let people lose all of that money. That's the thing is, you're going to sit here and...
I understand that critique. Well, then would you have a similar critique against universal pre-K? Because that's government funding, propping up a system, and contributing to inflation, in my mind.
The pre-K is not an investment structure. That's it.
Oh, I know exactly. Exactly. It's a jobs program.
No, but the issue, what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is that all of us can't invest money into universal pre-K that turns out and grows money later on. What I'm saying is the stock market, the reason I object to it is that is an investment vehicle that is fraught with risk. And everyone says you should not put money into the stock market that you at the core can't afford to lose. I know this personally based on losing money in the stock market through a couple of financial crises and some other things.
It's your 401k, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, not done through any government investment or anything else. But I understand the idea of that risk and seeing my accounts go up and down based on that. And what I'm saying is when we establish a government-funded set of accounts, it then creates an artificial floor that the government cannot let the stock market fall below. It creates an artificial support for an investment vehicle that is supposed to be risky. You're supposed to have the idea of making money or losing everything,
I get that,
but you can't lose everything in this situation now.
That's the same problem you have with universal pre-K. If you just funnel it into another system, you create an artificial floor for it, and it becomes something you can never get rid of. Because God forbid, we're not going to allow kids to have universal pre-K
But universal
anymore.
pre-K is a structure that
And that's worse in my mind because it's money taken from us, put into special interest groups and systems that we have no control over whatsoever.
But that is a program that is inside of the education area for kids. I understand that. It's a government program for education. The stock market is an investment vehicle, and that's why it's different. Not a lot of other people in the society have money tied up in universal pre-K. And if the universal pre-K here in Colorado went belly up, many more people would lose money if things in the stock market went belly up. That's the problem. This creates an artificial floor for the stock market. In fact, you can even go as far as to create this becomes a government-supported investment system inside the stock market, which gets you pretty darn close to socialism. Gets you real close to it.
Give us a call. Join the conversation. 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. People seeking to try to fix a problem. One, we're going to just put the money into government programs that have pushed the cost up. Delivery has dropped off. And it becomes a program that you can never get rid of. Think universal pre-K like we have in Colorado, right? That thing exploded in cost. And the government putting money into it. In this case, Trump's saying, no, we're going to put $1,000 into an investment account. And you're going to get to choose what you want to do with it. Is this just another version of universal basic income? Or is it just a similar tax investment system to what you have with 401ks and 529s? We're already doing this. And it seems to be benefiting people, right? I'm relying more on my 401k than I am Social Security. Similar debate, right? One's going into the stock market, Social Security, you have government raiding it. It's barely solvent. So in my mind, this is a similar setup to what we have with 401ks and 529s. And we're just allowing kids now to have access to it. Okay, we'll get to the phone lines next. Let's talk Dan Caplis with Dan Caplis Law. Dan suggests you should choose a lawyer who shares your values because who you choose to represent you in an injury case says a lot about you to everyone involved in the case. Dan Caplis, the son of a police officer and a former seminarian who's dedicated the last 40 years of his life to helping people who've been hurt in serious motor vehicle crashes. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado history. Dan Caplis Law, the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law is a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call. Here it is, 303-770-5551, 303-770-5551, or hit dancaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S law.com. All right, we'll continue. Phone lines hot. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
All right, phone lines hot. Trump accounts. TrumpAccounts.gov. Why did he put his name on that? Because all you libs out there won't get one and stay poorer. Your TDS is making you poor. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Francis Golden. Good morning, Francis. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Hey, you guys. Hey, I have a better idea about this, I think. Here's just the framework. There's really fundamentally, I think a lot of the inflation issues and everything else are, they kind of root with the baby boom generation. And until those people kind of fade into the woodwork, it's going to be a continued problem. But here's an idea. Instead of just giving money away, which by the way, Trump did twice during COVID. And the first one was certainly justified. Second one, iffy. Biden did once, which was clearly ridiculous, in which it needed. I mean, we're in a crisis. But instead of giving money away, which just incentivizes increased costs, just like if you're giving money away in the form of student loans, it increases the cost of college. How about this? Since there's a problem with generational wealth transfer here, why don't we create tax incentives for the baby boomers and people, of that generation and perhaps a little bit younger to go towards kids, towards the younger generation, to incentivize having kids so long as the tax credits go towards raising the kid, like whether it's childcare or anything else. Then you're not just giving money away, you're actually allowing a wealth transfer between two generations where the older generation has benefited from it for years and allow it to go back down, float back down. What a great idea.
Don't we already, we have tax credits for having kids,
and
right?
you should, and you do, just like you have giveaways for other things. What this is just $1,000 giveaway. I don't see any point in it. And unfortunately, look, man, a lot of people want to get behind this just because it's got a Trump name on it. This is a dumb idea. It's an incredibly dumb idea. There is every other vehicle available to do exactly what this does without giving money away. So
does this vehicle work? It previously exists. I know you have 529s. I know you have 401ks. I guess could you launch a 401k for an infant? I don't see why not. Why not? Why not? But you just said these already exist.
Do it. You can.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I think 401ks
Francis,
exist
also,
for the individuals.
Here's the other part: is you could also just launch an account in the kid's name. You could just take $1,000 and put and start an investment account in the kid's name and make stock trades or whatever it is yourself. That seed money can come virtually from anywhere. None of that is prohibited, etc.
Yeah,
and
but now
part
he's
of
got all these businesses giving it to their
why
employees.
Why not do a tax credit?
But they're doing that through 401ks.
But do a tax credit for the grandparent or whatever, because they're the ones who are getting eaten alive with taxes anyway on money that's mostly already been taxed once. So create tax credits for them to incentivize their kids to have kids. What a great idea.
Francis, I like the idea. I, of course, love the idea of tax credits, but again, Trump's got these corporations. They're now all getting involved. People are excited. You got major pop stars there. Come on, you got to give them a little bit of credit.
I'm not excited
Francis.
about money giveaways. I think it's bad. I think it's a bad idea. It'll always be a bad idea. Money giveaways, bad.
There you go.
Thanks, Francis.
Francis Golden advocating for you to keep your tax dollars. All right, let's go. We'll get to Michael in just a second. Folks, let's talk Gyrie's. Wife and I had an absolutely fantastic experience at Gyrie's. They're all over the Denver metro area. We went to the one in Parker and got to sit down with a professional designer who showed us an incredible selection of Hunter Douglas custom blinds, shades, and shutters. These things are beautiful. They work well. We used to buy cheap blinds online. They're terrible. My wife got to sit down and talk to this designer and ask lots of questions and come up with a plan. She walked us through everything and helped us find the perfect options to enhance the look and functionality of our home. So whether your curtains are clashing or you just want a fresh look, Gyrie's has the solutions for you. Their designers are the experts, and they can help you with everything from window treatments to full room decor. But here's the best part. They offer a personalized in-home consultation. They'll come directly to you, so you can get the same expert advice right in your own home. Do yourself a favor. Get started today. Visit Gyrie's.com to schedule your in-home consultation. That's GUIRYS.com. Go see the great people at Gyrie's. You'll be sure to thank me. Let's go to the phone lines. Michael in Denver. Good morning, Michael. What do you think of these Trump accounts?
Yeah, morning.
I think they're wonderful, investing in America. And, I hear all this stuff about, giveaways. Well, we've been throwing money away for how many decades on crap that gets us nothing. I love the idea. And there's it's actually Michael Dell's idea. Did you know that? You know who Michael Dell is?
Yeah, billionaire, Dell Computers.
Yeah,
sure.
and he started it out with $6 billion. Okay, threw that in. Mickey Minaj is going to put hundreds of thousands in. Bank of America and a lot of other companies are lining up over time, and it's index funds. What has been the return in the index funds, the S&P 500 index in the past years, Bill?
Michael, is it a security? Michael, is it a security? Michael, is it a security or a risk? Is investing in the stock market a risk or is it security? How is it defined?
Well, it's okay. If it's a risk, it's a very low risk, and it's spread out over. Well, what's been the return over the past?
Wait,
50 years,
Michael, hang on a second, Michael, buddy. You can't say the stock market has low risk
over the past 50 years of the S&P 500
Listen,
index fund.
Michael, I don't have to play your "do you know this fact" thing because my point is about risk versus securities. That's irrelevant based on the return. Thanks for the call.
Debate will continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
Risk versus security. They're different. This is KNUS.